guys, I'm John, and today I'm going to be refuting the claim that printed books will still exist in the future. My opponent's three claims were that printed books exist today, there are plenty of customers, and printed books have noticeable learning advantages against ebooks. So my response to the first claim that printed books exist today, well, I thought, of course they exist today. They're probably going to exist forever. It's not like we're a society such as Fahrenheit 451 where we go actively about burning all the books. But I'm guessing the claim is about how generally used printed books are against competitors such as ebooks. And so that brings me to my first piece of evidence. According to Pew Research Center, ages 18 to 29 adults, so basically college students and grad students, in 2011, 25% said they read an ebook, in 2012, 31%, and 2014, 47%. So it shows that there's a gradual increase in recent years of ebook usage, and although this may be a bit outdated, it shows that ebooks have been on the rise, and yes, in general, according to my opponent, she said that her piece of evidence was that 57% of college students prefer textbooks or printed books over ebooks, and I thought, well, that's generally the case right now because of the negative assumptions that comes with ebooks, which comes to my second point. My opponent said that there are plenty of customers, and I thought, well, of course there's plenty of customers because printed books are existing today, but that brings me to my evidence where, according to The Guardian, mobile phones and tablets overtook e-readers as the most common device used to e-read ebooks, with readers favoring multifunctional devices over dedicated e-reader brands such as Kindle and Nook. And of course, if you're trying to read your 1,000-page calculus textbook out of your phone, it's not going to be ideal. So obviously these guys are going to prefer their printed books over their ebooks. And there's also some people who believe that these ebooks are damaging their eyes. But according to the AAO, the American Academy of Ophthalmology, the actual usage of the LCD screens from your phones or computer screens or whatnot, they're not actually damaging your eyes, but it's the continual strain of not blinking and staring at something fixated for a long period of time that is actually affecting your eyesight. So again, these ebooks are not necessarily at a disadvantage against printed books, but this negative connotation that comes with ebooks has shown an impact on the ebook market. And that brings me to my third point, where my opponent said that printed books have noticeable learning advantages against ebooks, and her main claim was supported by a piece of evidence by the Joanne and Cooney Center, which is a research center for children learning. It showed that they did research on pairs of parent and child where they looked at their research on ebook, so in a category such as or known as the enhanced ebook and printed books. And so my opponent said that these printed books provide a better detailed retention for these children from these printed books rather than these enhanced ebooks. But actually the research shows that these so-called enhanced ebooks are basically just ebooks, but they have extra mechanisms that obviously are very distracting to children, and obviously it's going to affect their detail retention. So the research actually showed that regular ebooks actually had better results than the enhanced ones, and these children were able to retain more details of their stories that they read rather than their printed books. And that comes to my another point by one of my citations by the opponent by USA Today, where they interviewed Professor Broussard, who said that against ebooks, it takes class time. People can't work their interface, or their battery's dead, or they can't find the plug. For her, it's all about design, and the printed book is a better interface for what she does in her classroom. So, of course, if you don't have enough battery, you're not going to be able to read your ebook. So that's, of course, right now that's obviously an advantage for printed books. But as technology advances, and we can see that ebooks will be on the rise, because I know for a fact that our own engineering building has classrooms and tables that have implemented these designs for students that will only use their laptops or ebook readers. So overall, it shows that although my opponent had these three claims of printed books exist today, there are plenty of customers, and printed books have noticeable learning advantages against the ebooks, their pieces of evidence actually sometimes hurt their own claim, and I hope that you realize that ebooks have obviously more advantages than printed books today. Thank you.
Okay, you do hint at it, but I think you're missing the most essential argument here, and not spending as much time on it as necessary, and that is that nobody is denying that ebooks have a place or that printed books have a place. The question is whether or not one is going to replace the other, and the advocate is suggesting that it won't replace the other, and they're attempting to force you into taking a position that is not tenable. The truth of the matter is both will continue to exist. They function in different ways, and I think there's an argument to be made here that there's not really an argument that's going on here. The question is whether or not one's more effective than the other, whether or not one is better for learning than the other, whether or not children will produce better or retain more information using one than the other. That's where I think there's some argument. But the idea that one's going to disappear and the other one's going to replace it, I think that's based on a false dichotomy, that there isn't that kind of choice that's going on. And although you hinted at that false dichotomy at the beginning of the speech, it doesn't really become the focus of your argument. You basically present information that they could have been presenting. The ebook use is increasing, but we also still have a lot of people reading traditional printed books. Okay, so how does that help us resolve the question that the advocate is presenting? I'm not sure that it does. The notion that delivery systems like mobile phones or tablets is going to have an effect on the usefulness of ebooks, that's okay. That does limit their ability to do particular kinds of things, that it could be problematic. But you also mentioned in your speech, for instance, that some of the departments on campus have specialized equipment for people who are using e-readers during their classes, and that's it would be nice if we had some information that talked about the results. You did challenge the results of the study that the advocate presented because they were using enhanced ebooks and not regular ebooks, and the suggestion is that there's a distraction from the enhanced ebooks. I thought that was a good challenge to a premise that the argument is being presented, or that the advocate is presenting there. That's pretty good. And the general criticism of ebooks, everything's got its oh my gosh, what happens if a printed book falls in the water, or gets left someplace, or gets stolen? There's always a problem with something. The question is it endemic to those particular issues? Is it automatically a problem? I'm sorry that the instructor has students that sometimes run out of juice, but my goodness, what? That's the issue. That's the thing that's going to determine whether or not we use ebooks or printed books. That seems a little strange to me. All right, thank you.